All right, today we are welcoming Patrick Brane. Patrick, you've been a member for 11 years?
I think so. Yeah, I looked last night. I think it was spring of 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were maybe 6 months into that location. So we had just moved over. Yeah, it's hard for me to remember a time when you weren't really at the other gym there. So you came in shortly after. Was Scott there yet?
I think he started the winter before I did.
Okay.
And honestly, it probably took, with all the good friends here, it probably took, 6 to 8 months for everybody to kind of
meet each
get
other,
to know each other,
okay.
meet each other, and feel each other out. So
I was going to ask you, did you know any of them before you started training here?
No, not at all. I was going to Lifetime Fitness up on Sawmill Road forever, and I lived just across the street. My wife and I had a house over in University View. And I think I started to see, people running
Yep.
and saw the sign, and I was kind of in a transition stage of, from college to just having my first kid and trying to figure out what I wanted to do fitness-wise, and just walked in one day. It was completely random.
That's the one thing, like we do have, we'll run out onto that sidewalk, but the one thing I did like about the old location is, and it's something that I think someone from the outside looking in might not know, is us running around the building and dragging sleds around the building was as good of advertising as our website. Like I can't tell you how many people I've talked to and they're like, well, the way I found you was I was driving by one day and then I saw a whole big group of people like dragging sleds around the building, and then I looked up online what it was. So I was going back there. Yeah. I mean, it's probably like 20% of the members we got, and we kind of have lost a little bit of that because we've got the long driveway now. That's it's like
we were definitely spoiled. The setup for running over there.
It was nice.
You couldn't have made it up any better. It was just perfect.
That's ideally I would have loved to have had another building on that side of the road, just because you have that Kinnear path, which is really nice. But yeah, it's still like we have the sidewalk and stuff. But yeah, we were a little spoiled back then with that. Good running, good sled dragging, little loops. Like we had a track back there. Okay, so. So what were you doing as far as like when you worked out? Well, let's backtrack, like going back to like growing up as a kid, sports in high school. Yeah. What was kind of like your fitness background?
I was in everything, which was great. I mean, I did football, baseball, basketball. I think I quit basketball my senior year of high school.
Okay.
I went to Wittenberg, a Division III school, and played football and baseball for a few years, and then got over that and quit and transferred back to Ohio State. And I think at that time I started running, so I was doing 5Ks and 10Ks, and had never really been a great lifter, so didn't get too into that, and started doing. I did a half Ironman, which was kind of the peak of mine. Ironman put one up in Delaware at Ohio Westland, and I trained for a year and did that. And then since really just everything CrossFit based. I haven't really deviated into much. Kind of, I'm still good at running, but I don't really run anymore. Just do it when we're here. So
yeah, you run really well in the workouts. That makes sense. Like that you had a bit of a background, or that was something you kind of dove into, because whenever we do the running workouts, like it's funny in that 8:30 class we've got like you and Brett and Scott's a good runner too, and we'll get out into that class, and when we have newer people come in, like people maybe trialing the gym, sometimes I'll see their eyes like light up, like shh, like you guys are just like flying out the door, and then like you're just motoring the whole time. So,
were you a running back?
No, I was a receiver. I played safety, and this is random, but I was like an all-state punter, so I was really good at kicking the ball. I couldn't kick a field goal or an extra point to save my life, but I could punt really well.
Okay, cool.
So yeah,
Special forces, right?
Yeah, that was it. Pitcher in baseball, and
That's I want to try and like work with Oscar on like weird niche skills.
I know you do.
That's a good one.
Be a catcher, man. He's always trying to get him to be a catcher.
Learn how to punt or kick in football. Throw a weird knuckleball. Like find a weird way in where like you can kind of get around some athleticism if you don't end up getting it. You know?
What message are you really sending to him though?
No, it's just like play around with these things, and then like if you're a kicker, like there might be 3 kids that you're competing against, to do that. So.
Our son is not into sports for a lot of reasons, but my wife has set on him. She wants him to be the coxswain in rowing, like the guy that sits at the end of the rower and calls things out.
Yeah. I like that.
It's a free way to school anywhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so you got into CrossFit 11 years ago. A big thing with you is like you've been super steady through the entire thing. Can you like tell us a little bit about just like going through CrossFit, maybe goals you had early on, mindset change? Because how I feel like we're similar age, like
just turned 42.
Perfect. So we're the exact same age almost. I'm 42 as well. So like obviously, you start in, when you're 30, you're 42. Priorities change, your life changes around it. You have been very consistent the entire time. Tell us a little bit about like the evolution of 11 or 12-year CrossFitter.
Yeah, I mean, I think I came in for having an athletic background, no real experience lifting weights at all. I think we got a gym my senior year of high school, like in a trailer out back. And in college, it was still kind of new. So it was all pretty new to me. I mean, I was super competitive for the first, I'd say even 7 to 8 years of CrossFit. And I still am, but it's definitely harder on the body now. And I use it more of like a mental relief, like something away from work. I'm a pretty stressful job, mentally, physically, with traveling, just everything going on, and with kids. So I think it's definitely changed over the last 3-4 years, where it's just it's kind of a place that I can come and be a little introverted and quiet, because I lead a pretty extroverted work
Are you still
career.
in sales?
Still in sales, yeah. I work for a German spirits company and manage their North American business. So it's a lot between, home, family life, and that industry is, I've been in beer, wine, and spirits for 20 years, and it's a great industry. But lifestyle-wise, it's rough on you, and some people like get really far down the rabbit hole. So I've been lucky enough to be able to, compartmentalize work and life, and just find outlets in other ways. But that's kind of the fitness evolution. I think I still do everything in here. I don't love to overhead squat anymore. I snatched today, which is like a rarity for me. But yeah, I think more over the last 5 years, this is kind of my place to kind of come and be a little quiet and think in my head, and kind of get away from everything. So
yeah, I mean, you push things well though. I mean, I work out and do the workouts in class with you a good amount, and you're a rabbit that I'm chasing in a lot of those workouts. I'm like, I want to try and keep up with Pat. Like you run really well. Like you put up some really good weights, and you push the workouts really hard. So like people shouldn't get it twisted. Like you're getting after it when you're in here, and you perform well. That industry, like to your point, I feel like this is a really good way to balance out the travel, the entertaining. I had one of my best friends from high school, and you may have known him. He probably talked to you. Do you remember Adam, who was in here years
yeah,
ago.
Yeah, Adam and I actually spent a few random trips on the road. Like we were both in Philadelphia randomly, and we got to hang out. He's a good guy.
Yeah. So he was in the same thing, and you know, he'd be on trips, and he would come back, and you know, I think it would really wear on him, and it was like kind of, you know, me and Adam grew up together, and we'd partied together, and since we were kids and stuff, and like, you know, you got him going, and
absolutely.
And he would come back here, and he'd be like, it would crush him. It seems like you found a better balance. I think he's not in that industry anymore, and I think a lot of it was for health reasons.
So you mean he sold beer, right? So it's just like basically them paying. I mean, you've got to take clients out. You're expected to like drink with them and show them around, because that's like what you're selling is spirits. It would be so hard to balance, because you get back and then it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What do you?
It's tough, and I haven't really spirits. I haven't noticed it until the last 2 years. Like I thought for in my 30s it was really easy. I could do whatever I want, eat whatever I want. In the last 3 to 4 years, like I notice it. My body hurts a little bit more. I need to be better about what I'm eating. But yeah, it's a relationship industry, and you know, we're spoiled, right? Like I'm complaining, we're going to these great cities and these great restaurants and these great bars and having a great time. But it's hard. Fitness is way more important to me than that. I just happen to be really good at that. So whether or not I'm like truly passionate about it, like I don't know the answer to that question. I struggle with that one all the time, but I'm good at it.
Yep.
So yeah, that industry is tough. Like I'm going to California Saturday. I get back Saturday. That's 7 straight days of eating out and entertaining. Come back for a week, and then we go to Germany with 15 people. So it's not only that, it's it's the eating, the drinking, the stress. It's a lot. So I love coming in here.
You're not short either, man. Jumping on planes.
Do you get to fly business?
We do, yeah. It's
nice.
I don't feel too bad.
Yeah. when we were going to Europe, we were like on the way back, and we knew how bad it would feel like in our shitty seats. And we're just like looking at the people laying back. I'm like, damn it.
They're on top.
But you'd have to though to be able to travel like that.
I'm a pretty regular sized guy.
You just got long legs though too.
Yeah.
It would serve you well to have a long torso in those situations.
How do people, if you're 6'5", how do you even get in a seat? I'm 6 feet tall, 6'1", like I'm like that, like sitting in an airplane seat.
So I always feel like I'm coming back here and trying to play catch up. Like like I've had the last 3 weeks in here, and I think I've done pretty well. But I'm gonna go kind of sabotage it for the next 2 weeks. So I struggle with that because that's frustrating to me. I hate that.
But I worked with you back in the day. You always seemed very disciplined, even in those environments. I mean, probably comparatively speaking, you're out, you're going to have some drinks, but you always kind of like still ate clean, and I'll tell everybody to do that, but a small fraction actually like follow through with it. Yeah. And I remember you were pretty good where you're like, okay, you always had a game plan. I'm going to have like this meal, this many drinks. So how do you game it now? Because, you're pretty seasoned. Yeah. How do you game it when you're away with workouts, food? Like, how do you think about it?
Yeah, the food's the toughest for me just because I love it. And I've always had like a really good metabolism. I just have always ate whatever I wanted to. So that's the toughest for me. Drinking, I'll drink light beer. I'm notorious for going to the bathroom and throwing my drink down the toilet. I do it all the time. It's cool. I just don't need all of that all the time.
Our daughter does that with like steak though, all protein.
Oh yeah?
Goes to the bathroom, flushes it down the toilet. You can't let her go to the bathroom during the meal.
And she's like, I have to go to the bathroom, and you'll find like a napkin stuffed down her shirt.
Steak.
There we go.
You're just like, you have to like pat her down like a prisoner.
But that's perfect to do that. And so any liquor, you're like, okay, cool, I'll take it, but then you just take it to the bathroom and try to avoid liquor.
Not all of it. It's just like in moderation, right?
Yeah.
Or like a soda water on the rocks or something like that. But it's hard, and it's there's a lot of cool places, and you want to enjoy it and have fun too. So it's a balance. Working out's tough because we're typically out till, I always say this about the liquor industry. My friends see the fun side of it, but I'm like, dude, I work from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and then I go out too. You just see what I'm doing from 7 to 2 in the morning. Like, it's a business too.
So you'll be out till 2, and then you still have to get up.
Yeah, so that's the tricky part. Like, am I disciplined enough to get up at 6 and go to the hotel gym and suffer through something? And it's kind of 50-50. I used to be better at it.
Yeah. That is tough. So do you shoot for a certain number of days per week, like on these trips, to get in to kind of like keep your head above water? Or?
I still try and go every day. I've noticed that if I can go every day and even just do 15 or 20 minutes of something, I'm going to feel better than, one day or maybe 2 day at 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
I try to get down there, at least stretch.
Right. And that's kind of what we do on vacation too. You know, just like that little stimulus, I feel like really helps. Even if it seems like what you did was so minimal, I think it always matters. Yeah. Just kind of get your body moving.
Burn off a little bit of that hangover fog, you know. You feel way better when you, like, even if you run an easy 2-mile jog is like a go-to for us.
Yeah.
We'll go run for 10 minutes out and back and stretch. Yeah. Like that is like when we land somewhere, we'll boom. We're running 20 minutes, 10 minutes out and back. We get to kind of see some stuff, stretch out, and then you feel way better.
100%. Yeah.
Even though it sucks. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Like you don't want to do that at all. Yeah, I figured you were still like some people when they leave here, like they won't train. That's great that you still get down to like hotel gyms. Do you ever do drop-ins at like CrossFit gyms ever?
I've done it a few times, but not frequently. It's usually just a little bit too out of the way with what's going on in the day.
It takes some time. Yeah. It's like it's a 2-hour chunk of your day.
Yeah,
to like
absolutely.
Get in, do your waiver, do a whole workout.
But I am like notorious for I pick the hotel based on the gym.
Yeah.
And all my coworkers always bust me out because I stay at the same places or stay here, stay there. Yeah. And I don't know if it's my group or the industry in general, but not a lot of people in that line of business work out for whatever reason.
Because they feel like shit all the time.
They do. So I'm trying to get, I'm trying to champion the group to get down there. But it's a struggle.
Yeah. You have to like almost make a bet with them or something.
Yeah.
Do any of these hotel gyms have barbells?
They do. So my favorite hotel in the country is the JW Marriott in Austin, Texas. It has the best hotel gym ever. I love going there. I feel like I seek out meetings and trips there just because I know I'm going to get a good stay and a good workout.
That's awesome.
Do you travel abroad much? Like, is Germany a place that you go to frequently?
Yeah, usually 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. How are the gyms there?
Terrible.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I mean, when
That's
we were in
we were
Italy and France, they were horrible. But I thought Germany might be maybe a little better. But
and I'm sure they exercise, but the culture there is everybody walks. Everybody's really healthy.
Yeah.
And they drink beer and smoke cigarettes at lunch, but they walk
the cigarettes. That's how they stay
5-6
thin. Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to find a good gym though.
Yeah, I've done. I did CrossFit Danzahart, I think, in Dusseldorf. So I've done some CrossFit gyms internationally. Just because, quite honestly, if you don't find that, there's no real hotel gym option.
Yeah.
The
hotel gyms, like when we've been over, are bad. If they exist, which oftentimes they don't, and then like commercial style gyms we've been to are
gave Brandon like an anxiety attack.
Yeah. Well, the one, they're just. I mean, so there's just not a lot of options. There's not a lot of options.
They weren't open 2 mornings out of the week, and then the one gym we found, and then we went to another one, and it was just like pure chaos. Everyone's got equipment everywhere. Like things are kind of orderly here. It's just.
Think about a gym the size of barbell and toss 65 people in there doing open gym all at the same time, and then just like people coming in and out.
Like 2 squat racks for the whole gym.
Yeah, and just like a lack of equipment that's like very antiquated. There's just not options. So there are people who want to train.
Yeah.
They just like, I'm like, my business mind starts going, and I'm
like,
what an
like
easy
we're not opening a gym here.
Yeah, exactly.
No one gives a shit about working out here.
you don't have to bring it really that good either. I'm like, just get like a decent basic setup and stay open.
Yeah.
Like from regular hours, and you're gonna
And they're
print
jerks
money.
too. They're like, yeah, like we don't give a shit whether you're here or not.
Yep.
Well,
like, a lot
what are
of
you
the
doing?
hotels over there are like,
Can I work out?
We don't have a gym, but we have a relationship with the gym down the street.
Yeah.
And then you walk in, and of course you're the hotel guy. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
guy's here.
Yeah. No one's excited to see you.
Yeah, the gym culture in Europe has not quite caught up with the U.S. Although obviously, like their weight problems and stuff are.
They got some other things figured out, and the quality of food.
Yeah,
the quality of food.
Yeah, it's night and day.
They win there pretty much universally. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I wanted to ask you. I mean, you've been here for 11 years. So when you came, were you married at that time, or had just gotten married?
Good question.
So 2013.
15 years this year. I think we were married.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were just we had just had my son Cameron probably in December, and I think I joined in March.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you've navigated a lot of different trials and just hard times, whether it's with work or children, and that's what injuries, we like to ask people about is like, can you speak to that and how you moved through that? Because every person's, tests are different over the years. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. So, what's kept me kind of consistent?
Yeah, or like
years?
what obstacles have you run into with
Trials and tribulations,
injuries,
just in life.
family? Yeah, just what has really kind of thrown you the biggest monkey wrenches, and how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky with injury. I've never really had one, knock on wood. I think for me, mine's just been work, quite honestly. I know we've talked about it a bit, but it's my biggest stressor in life, and it's kind of changed me from being like super extroverted in my personal life to now super introverted, because I lead this crazy extroverted work life, which I know is a challenge at home, right? Like I kind of just shut down and turn it off, and cannot be as present as I need to be, or like the wife or kids want you to be. So I think that the gym's really helped with that. It's just an outlet for me to kind of try and reset. And that's why I come and why I've been so consistent. I need the structure in my life. Like I've tried the big box gym. I can't walk in there and try and do it on my own. I check my email within the first 5-10 minutes, get stressed out, and I walk right back out the door.
Yeah.
That's what I do when I travel. So,
yeah.
Work's been the toughest thing for me.
Okay. And your kids are 11 and, right, 11? You said you
12
had
and 10.
12 and 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have found even just like normal kind of everyday things with the kids are just so much more stressful than I ever realized. If anyone would have ever told me. I'm like laying awake at night, like thinking about some minor issue, that should be their problem. And I think that's something that I never really like expected. And having children, just the like almost like mental stress can kind of like, carry into your body, and just feeling exhausted. The
Absolutely.
Exhaustion.
Yeah, and I've been lucky. Like my wife is, she's a saint with the kids, and she does it way better than I do. And awesome and patient, and a really good teacher with school things, and we balance each other out that way. So I've been lucky to have a partner on that side who just really, really excels with that.
Yeah. Do you both work still?
Yeah, she's part-time at Nationwide. She's a nurse. She was labor and delivery for forever.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, she's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and off Thursday, Friday, and it's really helpful for kid life and for travel.
Yeah.
I try to bookend my travels like a Wednesday to Saturday, so I'm only gone for a little bit of time. But there's definitely like periods of time where it's just like, I feel like we're here, I'm there, and it's kind of a high buy thing, which is tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be almost impossible, I think, for one parent to travel like you do and to have both parents work full time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to get her back in here. I'm sure she'll listen to this too. So she did CrossFit for a while, and
I know she did great. She was great.
Yeah. Team Tuesday's coming up.
Team Tuesday will have to.
And Rev. Yeah, we always say, Rev. Yeah. I love Power Hour too for women our age.
Stuff, yeah,
which I know like it is kind of counterintuitive. I think we all want to just do. I love more the conditioning, but the Power Hour, the weightlifting is really where it's at.
Yeah, I've learned so much of that. I always thought it was cardio too, and even listen, Michelle's mom's had some health problems. Listening to her, like, I'm going to get back into running. I'm like, you need to lift weights.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. All of you.
Yes.
Go lift some weights.
Right. I know. Well, I think it just, at least when I was growing up and even in college at Ohio State, my degree was in exercise science. I mean, weightlifting hadn't really even become a thing. And it's something we didn't ever discuss. And I was trying to bring that discussion like to the classroom, because I was already a personal trainer and working with like a strongman guy, and I was getting into it, and they like wouldn't even address it. Like it was just like, well, yeah, I guess you could go lift weights, but that's like a bunch of like, I don't know, Neanderthals do it, like we're gonna go run and eat pretzels. I'm like, okay, well, you guys, you're very antiquated in the way that you think. So it's really just even been in the last like 20 years. I think it's really come along, but it's hard to not kind of get that out of your mind, especially like if you want to get a little leaner. I still go back to like, I should run more. Like, no, actually you need to lift more and eat more protein.
Yeah.
Well, older adults listen to their general practitioners, and what they're typically recommending is 60 minutes of moderate exercise. So, and that's gauged in cardio. So, sometimes they'll talk about light housework or walking or running or things like that. And like when you say that and generalize that to someone, it's not a real like structured thing to execute on. It's like, oh, okay, I raked leaves last week. Like, that,
I guess you could go. I do
3 sets of 20 light housework.
Yeah, but I do think there's something to like getting a certain amount of activity in, even outside of your gym hour. So if you just go home from the gym and lay on your ass, which I've done before, and I'm like, I can feel it. Like I feel like stiff and lethargic, where you just need some general activity and moving around, and that does matter. But
I can fall into that trap.
The intensity piece, absolutely matters in lifting weights.
So looking ahead, Pat, do you have, like, outside of using this as your outlet, which for me, it was like a sport for a long time, and then it's really become CrossFit, and the classes and everything are like, it's my workout and like my release and how I feel like. We just did the 8:30, and I'm like, kind of dragging ass a little bit this morning. I feel great now. Yeah. I feel so good. And but every year I'll get like an itch. Do you ever do any like races or anything like that? Have you done any of like the Tough Mudder type things, or like some of those guys will get together and do stuff like that?
I've done them all. I haven't done anything in over 5 years.
Okay.
I do have the itch sometimes to get back into that, but I have a very like addictive personality, so I'm either 110% in or out.
I know what you mean.
With anything, like, all right, we're gonna Tough Mudder. We're gonna get, all right, what's the best gear? What's this? We're gonna do this. We're all in. So I struggle to pick up another hobby because it's I know I'll instantly love it and kind of fall into it.
Yeah.
Have you looked into the Hydrox races at all?
No,
a friend just mentioned. I was just
really
thinking a friend she was like a professional Ironman racer. She's
That's
amazing,
what you should do.
and she mentioned to me. Yeah. So it's more of like an endurance sort of CrossFit competition, and I think they're all standardized, right? So you might help me out with this if you guys know. I think it starts off with like a 1K. Is it a 1K ski erg?
I don't know the order of things.
Okay, I think it's the ski erg.
It's the same thing every time.
It's you're running at 1,000 meters, or 1,000 meters in between each event. So there's like the ski erg. I know there's a sled push, a sled drag. There's wall balls.
Burpee broad jumps.
Burpee broad jumps.
There's a farmer carry.
And a farmer carry.
Yeah, but I think it ends up being like 8 kilometers and running.
I don't know the exact
I think
order,
they
but
last
it is
about
like
90 minutes. It'd be like a half marathon sort of. I mean, I think that'd be like your jam.
Yeah, that gets me excited.
I'll have to send it to you because she
please
sent me
do.
the website and she was like, how random is this? She's taking a trip to Vegas and she's like, I just looked it up because she needs something to train for. And they have a race out there. She's like, I'm just going to do it. Like, fuck it.
That's fun.
It's moves that are more basic and straightforward with 1K of running in between them.
Yeah,
but
it's sandwiched in between each.
But like each thing, there's some work to be done on.
They're in
each
some
one.
Fun cities too. I think I saw a couple in Germany. I mean, you could even sign up for one.
Do it.
Do it when you land.
It's funny when you said that. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, that is.
Yeah, I could see you doing that.
If CrossFit was that competition, that's like what. Yeah. Pat is built for right there. Like
you found your new thing.
That would be fun. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I could do this for 15 more years and stay healthy and like still be competitive against I don't know. I feel like everybody's so young. Like if I can stay competitive against some of the young people that are coming here, like that's good enough for me. And that still gets
that's
me
always my goal. Yeah,
to come in.
Well, I mean, we love like big reason I wanted to have you on here is like to talk to people. We kind of discussed this maybe in the last podcast or two. It's fun to talk to, like, say someone who's into it for like 2 or 3 years and they're competing at like a high level. But where I really like to get into like picking people's brains are people who've, once you've extrapolated this out like 8 to 10, 12 years, you have some real experience in it. And you've gone through like the goo goo gaga phase of it. Like now you've settled in, and that's where it can be hard to like, hey, I need to find my stride, because some people like they do this and then they can never settle in to like something day to day. And like, it takes a mental, like, change of like, okay, like I'm going to come in here and use this as a workout. I might get a little better. I might go down a little bit. But I maintain some sort of level consistently, and I've built this into part of my life, which is an ever-evolving and changing thing, and it doesn't have to mean exactly this or that, and it's like this CrossFit thing stays steady, and you're such a perfect example of that. Like I love coming in, looking in here. You and Scott are in here at 8:30. I'm like this feels right every day, and it would rattle me if I came in for a month and
your squares were empty.
Yeah, squares. Yeah. Which I mean, you go out of town
funny.
And stuff, but like
the same 2 spots.
Yeah.
We all have our spots though, don't we?
That's our spot. Somebody can take it though. It's not. I am by no means.
I have a couple that I'll be okay
square.
with. I have like 3 or 4, but then if I get out of that, it's like you get all messed up.
It does feel a little weird.
But I think where I was almost going with that is I think sometimes when people start this, they have a finite amount of time in their head. Like, well, I'm going to do CrossFit for 6 months and learn everything there is to do, and then I'm going to go back to like a commercial gym routine once I've kind of figured CrossFit out, and then add some of it. And I'm like, no, this is like a sustainable.
I don't think people think that far in advance, is what I've learned.
Okay.
I think they think I'm doing CrossFit today, unless they're a bit neurotic. Maybe, maybe your mind goes there. You and Gretchen. Yeah. I was like, I just love this. I don't know how long I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Maybe I'll wake up one day and not, but I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah,
and that's what's nice about all the offerings here too. Like I went through a rev stage. I did Power Hour once, maybe for.
Yeah, I remember when you were doing that.
Months at the old barbell.
Yeah, I remember when you did that.
I was going to say Power Hour would be a good cycle for you to get back into, like or just once a year for like 3 months.
I have a weird body type. Like I feel like I've looked the same for 20 years, which is good, but it always bothers me. Like I get stronger, but I don't look like I'm any stronger. Or I get weaker, you look the same.
I know what you mean. I mean, I have like long, lanky limbs and stuff, and I feel like I have to take my shirt off for anyone to know that I work out.
I always get, the kids at the fair, we do the guess your weight game, because I'm going to win it every time, because they're going to tell me that I weigh 160 pounds. And it irritates me to no end. I'm like, no, I'm 195. Like, come on. It really makes me mad. But
that.
See
man.
my bicep.
I feel your pain. I'm like, there's like memes about it now, and what was I think I was like getting massage or something, and someone is like, do you like? They asked me the question like genuinely, like, do you work out sometimes? And there's like memes about it where like there's like a tear coming down someone's eye. I'm like, yeah, sometimes.
It's so true.
2 times a day. 2 days most of the time, but thanks for noticing.
Sometimes, I guess.
Genetics, man. It's real.
Oh, I know. Well, that's why I think, I think for guys like me and you too, that's what, where CrossFit becomes a really fun way to train, because it gamifies it where you're doing athletic stuff. It's fun. Like, you're doing good in these workouts. And, for a few years when I initially got into working out, it'd be me and like 3 or 4 buddies, and our whole workout routine revolved on like who could bench press the most weight. And I sucked at that. And I was like, man, I guess I'm just like,
this isn't a fun game.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't like working out that much because I'm just like the worst at this one movement. But I'm like, I feel like when we go play basketball or something, I'm pretty good, and then got into like a more dynamic style of working out. I'm like, okay, I don't suck that bad.
Yeah. That's why my face lights up when it's, a 400-meter run with 95 or a heavy kettlebell, like what, Grace or Helen, or
Helen,
something
yeah,
like that. Like, this is more than running, but you got to be able to do a little bit of everything here.
Yep.
Those are the ones that I love the most.
Yeah, that Hydrox race, man. I think that's
send
like
it
we're
to
talking
you.
about it. We want to we'll try and maybe get a little crew together and do one of those.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
I'll try and train for one of those. That might be fun.
Be more fun than a half marathon you've been talking about.
I know. I like
I've done
the
a
sound
lot of
that.
those.
I like the sound of that a little bit more than just running.
In a different city. We got to find one can't do it in Columbus.
Yep. You did that like urban athlon thing back in Chicago. Yeah. That was kind of like that.
I remember
that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge thing, like in Men's Health magazine or something.
Yeah, I remember you.
They worked the main sponsor. Yeah, Dan Bailey and I did it together.
Yeah.
It was
That's
like
cool.
2010.
Yeah.
Was it only for guys? No girls?
No.
Oh,
No, it was just anyone.
Oh,
anyone
okay.
wanted to do it, yeah.
I guess it was just in Men's Health.
How much running was that?
I forget how long that one. It was kind of by like Navy Pier and stuff. It was on the water. God, I don't know how long that was. I'd have to look it up.
Do you remember a time range of how long it took?
I want to say it was at least an hour.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hour and a half is perfect because like people start to kind of falter if you don't eat right. They kind of like drop. Yeah. So an hour you can kind of get away with like screwing up your nutrition, but like into that 90-minute range.
That battle frog thing we did was right about 90 minutes.
Yes, that was good. We'll leave that in the past. Let's move on to the Hydrox race.
No
I just don't want to be shocked by anything. That's what I don't want to be cold in water and shocked. So
that was fun.
It was fun.
It was real
I was so
obstacle
freaking
heavy.
scared the whole time. I was like shaking.
It was only maybe like 4 or 5 miles of running, but 30 obstacles. So it was
Savage, maybe, which is probably similar.
Similar
I remember
type
doing
deal,
that with a
yeah.
group of people here.
I think we did the last battle
one.
frog
They stopped because of us.
race that there ever was.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun thing. We did it like down in Cincinnati, but well, Pat, man, I really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
This was awesome having you on and kind of getting your story, and we'll be seeing you in the 8:30 class.
We'll be there.
All right, buddy.
See you, man.
Yeah.